Hey y'all, Maggie with Wild and Woven Farm, and we are thawing out from the snow that we got here in North Carolina. It was a very fun weekend, and we are tired this morning. We are going to take this warmer day to ferment some of our livestock feed. So I am going to show you step-by-step process of how to ferment the livestock feed. We are going to be doing our hog feed and the reasons as to why you should ferment your feed and the benefits of that. And it's going to be over the course of several days, so we will go through that and I will film the entire process. So come along, let's ferment some of our feed. I'm here in our feed building, and you will probably hear the pigs behind me because anytime I'm in here they think they're getting fed and then they start being loud. But anyways, what you're going to want to start fermenting some feed is several 5-gallon buckets, and I like to get the buckets with the lids on them. We have gotten these from Azure Standard in the past, and we just have a lot of them laying around because farm life. And you're going to want some empty ones, and then you're going to want some with water in them because we are going to be adding water to the feed. So I have, just for sake of minimalism and ease for this video, I'm going to fill up just the one bucket and show you how we prep it to feed and how our schedule is going to look with fermenting feed in the winter time versus the summer, and how often we're going to be doing this. So right now our bags of feed are stored off to the side, but any open bags of feed are stored in this old freezer. The freezer got struck by lightning and it fried. So we use it to store open bags of feed. And I'm going to fill this bucket up with the amount of feed that I would give the pigs for one day. And it can look different for you, but because with fermentation you're adding water and it's going to soak and it's going to expand your feed, you want to make sure that you're not going up. I generally use this line on my bucket as a guide about 3/4 of the way up because there will be some expansion. We ferment, we're going to ferment this hog feed. So this is a mash, so it's ground up, and you can ferment this. You can ferment pelleted feed as well. The pelleted may expand a little bit more just because it's compressed. So what you think visually looks okay in your bucket, it may expand more than a ground up whole grain or a cracked grain. So I am going to fill this up with our hog feed. And now the pigs are going to get going. So we have our hog feed, and I am then going to add water to this. Depending on how you feed your animals, you can add their minerals or any kind of additions into this. A common one that gets added to ferment is kelp. You can feed kelp to your animals. It's highly nutritious. It's a really great mineral to feed your livestock, and we do. So you can add kelp to this. There are other probiotics that your animals can eat and consume, or other minerals that you may want to add to this. But regardless, it doesn't have to be just straight feed. It makes your life easier to add all of their feed ration into this bucket to ferment, then so be it. Or you can ferment just the feed and then add their minerals and whatnot in a different way, but that's you. So let's go ahead. We're going to add the water to this, and I'm going to go ahead and talk about why fermenting your feed is very beneficial, and then how to feed this. So what I'm doing is filling this bucket up with water, and I'm sorry, the pigs are going crazy. You're going to want your bucket to have about 2 to 3 inches of water above your feed line. I'm going to go ahead and get this mixed up too, so that the water can get all the way down to the bottom. So it's such a large amount of food, but the idea is that you want your food submerged in the water, and that's where the fermentation is going to happen. Any food like this that's left on top, it's going to spoil and go rancid. And so we're going to get this mixed up. And once it's all mixed up and it has about 2 to 3 inches of water above the food line, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a top on this, and it's going to start fermenting. So because it is winter and it is cold, the fermentation process is going to take some time. And in the summer, this would probably be ready to go in 24 to 36 hours. Now that it's cold, and in the winter, it's going to take 48 to 72 hours. I don't think I would let it go more than 72 hours. But I would say, because of the temperature and the season, and we store the fermentation outside, I would check this in about 48 hours. You're going to want kind of like a vinegar smell, kind of a little sour, but not like a vomit smell. You'll know, like apple cider vinegar is a fermentation. You kind of want that type of smell. Because it's a grain, it could even have like a beer smell to it, and I think you know what I'm talking about when I say that. But yeah, so it's gonna have that kind of smell, and you can check it even every 24 hours just to make sure that the food is submerged in the water. You don't want the water level to go below the food. I will go ahead and put a top on this, and we'll come back in about 24 hours. I will show you what it looks like, and then I'll let you know what we do from here. we are going to check on feed. It's only been 24 hours, but it's always good to check water levels at this point. Yeah, and there's not much going on. This is one of the reasons why you need to cover up your buckets, because apparently I had a little spot in my bucket that allowed a couple bugs to get in, and actually this is, oddly enough, a bee. It's been very cold here, so yeah, he must have smelled the sweet smell of the feed and decided to check it out. Let me show you. So this is the feed, and there's about 2 to 3 inches of water on top, and it's, you know, not really doing much right now. But like with most of your ferments, just kind of take it, oh, it's really heavy, and just agitate it a little bit. We got some air bubbles. But yeah, that's about what it's gonna look like the first day. So we'll come back tomorrow and I'll check on it then. Because it's winter, it's gonna be slower. So if it were the heat of the summer, you would see a whole lot of action going on. You would have the smell, you would have all the signs of fermentation, bubbling, and maybe like a foam on top. So yeah, we'll just come back and look at it tomorrow, and now that the pigs heard me, I'm gonna go feed them. While I'm down here feeding them, it reminded me to explain one of the reasons why fermenting feed is so good for the pigs, and just all livestock in general. When you look at the pig manure, they go in one spot, and so it's very easy to see. You will see evidence of grain still in their manure. Depending on what you feed your cows, it can be the same. And when you soak, even just for 24 hours or even just 12 hours, I mean, I know some people who will feed their pigs twice a day, in the morning and in the evening, and in the morning they will start soaking their feed for the evening feed, and then in the evening they will soak the feed for the morning time. So even just soaking it for 12 hours will break down the outer layer of the grain, especially if you're doing whole grain. Some people do cracked grains, or what is called like a shilling, and that is kind of like some of the spent grain from the mill. It's cheaper. It just doesn't have like the whole hull of the grain. So when you're soaking, when you're fermenting, you are basically making that grain ready to be digested in the pig's or any other animal's body. And so it's readily available nutrients. They're absorbing more, and so your grain is going further. You're purchasing the same amount of grain, and it's giving more nutrients to the pigs, to the animal, and therefore those nutrients are going to increase their weight and their health and their nutrition faster and quicker than not soaking it. So it doesn't have to be like in the middle of winter, a 3-day fermentation process. We just checked for 24 hours. I would happily feed that to them right now, and that would make such a great impact. But when you're spending so much money on sourcing quality feed and then it's just half of it's running through them and you're seeing the evidence in their manure, it can be frustrating because it feels like lighting your dollar bills on fire. And this is just allowing them to get as many nutrients from your dollar bills as possible. So it's day 2, day 3, I forget. It's been 48 hours. Yeah, it's been 48 hours. Now the pigs are going crazy. It's been really cold here. So this is going at a snail's pace. But we do see some bubbling and a little bit of activity. So I'm going to just give this a quick stir, and then I'm going to feed this to them tomorrow. What we can do, or what you can do as well, when you're making fermented feed or you're soaking, you're constantly thinking ahead of the game. So I'm gonna feed the pigs first because they are just loud. Where's my buckets? Yeah, we still have snow on the ground. It's been almost a week. Try not to fall on my butt here. I know. Watch it. I know, I hear you too. Oh, goodness. All right, now they're quiet. So when it comes to getting on a good schedule for fermenting feed, you have to think about what you're feeding your animals daily. Like I said, fermented or soaked grains go longer as far as nutrients are concerned, and you have to think about how much you're feeding them dry versus how much you want to feed them soaked or fermented, and kind of go from there. Typically when you soak grains or you ferment, it requires less of the dry grain to feed them nutritionally once it's been soaked, if that makes sense. So if I'm feeding 2 scoops of dry grain, but then I decide to soak it, then let's say 1.5 scoops is maybe what I can feed them after I soak it, because they're extracting more nutrients and then it saves on your feed bill. So once you figure out how much you're feeding them daily, then you can go ahead and plan. So in the season we're in right now, with all of the cold weather we've been having, if I'm fermenting for 3 days, then I have to be thinking about, I'm going to every single day start a batch, and that's going to be a 1-day ration. or maybe you want to do it every other day and you're then feeding, let's say I do a full 5-gallon bucket like what I'm doing right now, but they only eat half a bucket every single day. So on one day, they're going to get a 2-day fermented feed, and then on the next day, they're going to get a 3-day fermented feed. And so then you're only starting a new batch of ferment every other day, if that makes sense. So that's just something that you'll have to work out. And then also labeling, because our buckets are all just white, and I don't really like the whole Sharpie method on the bucket, or if it's going to take an extra step for us to properly label, I'm probably not going to do it. So if it's for us in our feed area here, what I can do is the buckets that are oldest, like the ones that have been soaking the longest, they can sit closest to the door. And so they'll all sit in a line, and the first one goes out for the day, and the last one is the newest one, the one that I just started soaking today. So that's how you can work it. It's a much easier method than having to like write things down. I mean, that's just an extra thing, and I'm not doing it. So yeah, we'll come back tomorrow and we'll go ahead and take a look at this, and we'll finish it. For now, we're going to get going. We have our Azure standard pickup to do. So we're going to run out and do that. I'll probably show you a little bit of what we get from Azure standard. I get a few questions about that. I have my link posted in the description below. But we're going to get moving and go pick that up. And then tomorrow, once we start cracking in the morning, we're going to come out and finish up this fermented batch of feed that we started a few days ago. So we just got home from our Azure standard pickup. It was this evening. It was very cold and icy, so it was just a mess. But anyways, I wanted to show you what we got. So let me see. I'm just kind of doing this on a whim. If I can prop you. Ooh, excuse you. Okay, so we got 6-pack of pasta sauce. I have not canned pasta sauce, I think, in 2 years, because I've either been pregnant or we've moved, and we love this pasta sauce. This is the Natural Value tomato basil pasta sauce. No funny ingredients, and yeah, I'm reading the ingredients right now. No funny ingredients. Because again, we didn't can tomatoes. I got the Muir Glen diced tomatoes. We use these for chili, along with some black beans. We normally wouldn't do like ready-made black beans, but these were just a good price, and I just need easy right now. There's a lot going on with this farm business, so not canning right now. We got some new dish soap. We hand wash dishes, and I really like the Azure Clean dish soap, fragrance free. I don't do smells very well. We get the organic white basmati rice. We love rice. The dark chocolate mini chocolate chips. We make these fun little protein bars, and it has some chocolate chips in it, and they're really good. I got, this is the first for us, the organic multicolored popcorn. We're gonna try to grow some of this in our garden this year, but I thought that would be a cool snack alternative, trying to get out of bagged chips. So I just got some lemon juice. The lemons that I canned We are out of lemon juice now. So again, like I said, I'm not canning anything right now. We love these Thousand Hills grass-fed beef jerky sticks. They, again, have nothing weird in them. And Farmer Josh loves to take these on the road with him when he's working. And they make a great snack. Speaking of snacks, we got these. I've tried the Lundberg brand of the bigger organic rice cakes, but we're gonna try these. They're like a thin cracker rice cake, kind of. I think they would be really cool with something spread or dipped on them. The kids really like dipping things like hummus and almond butter. So these are with red rice and quinoa, just nothing but organic quinoa and rice. So better snacks than bags of chips. I got bulk, unsalted, organic butter. For many reasons. A, we're not making butter right now because it's winter and there's a season for that. There's more to that. And B, we wanted to try a different brand that I think we're going to be happy with their practices. So we'll see. We eat a lot of butter. Our favorite pasta. This is a compromise. Farmer Josh is looking at me. I think this is a compromise in our house. It's gluten-free, so it is a rice base. It's just organic rice, flour, and water. Those are the only ingredients. We try not to do a lot of pasta in this house because I'm pretty sure our kids could probably eat 10 boxes in one sitting. So this is a good compromise for us, and if you buy enough, they make a really good price on these. I think that's it. If you wanted to know more about Azure Standard, where a drop site is near you, I have a link in the description of this video. Just click on it. You can shop around. There's anything from animal feed to home goods to food. Yeah, so link is in the description, and yeah, that's about it for that. Good morning. It is day 3 and it is freezing this morning. I did have my hood up, but for filming purposes, I'll put it down. I'm out here checking on the ferment, and it is nice and, bubbly, and when you go to smell it, it smells like a very light vinegar smell. Again, you do not want this smelling rancid, like vomit or just like gone bad food. So I just fed the pigs for the sake of making this video because they get so loud when I'm in here in the feed building. So this afternoon, I'm going to come back and feed them this. I will show you what I do in regards to feeding it and the liquid that is still left in it. But yeah, let me show you what this looks like. So it looks so appealing. Kidding. But yeah, there's the corn and the minerals and the other grains that are in the feed. As you can see, it's been covered still with the water, and when you smell it, it smells like a very light vinegar. So this is done. So I'm going to go ahead and feed the rest of this cold, weary crew and come back this afternoon and feed that fermented feed to the pigs. Good morning, Miss Maple. Are you staying warm? Are you happily chewing your cud? I'm ready for it to be warm too. It's supposed to get into the 40s today, so I'm hoping we can get some hoses thawed because that water trough needs to be filled. And I don't feel like hand filling it like I've been doing with everything else. Send warm weather. Okie dokie, let's feed the piggies. Yeah, they're already going. Farmer Josh came home a little early today, so he gets the honor. So what I'm going to do first, or what you can do first, is the liquid that's on top of this, it's very windy, excuse me. The liquid that's on top of this, you can actually pour it off into a separate bucket to save, and that can almost be like your starter culture for your next batch of ferment, and it just gives it a kick start. Or you can just feed the whole thing to them. That's your choice. So we're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna pour some of this liquid off, and then we're gonna go ahead and feed this to them.
Okay, I think I got it.
You got it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh, they are crazy for it.
I think we need to put a T-post there, Mommy. Drop the pick.
All right, so they're fed. They're very happy with the feed. We just feed directly on the ground, mainly because when we move them to new areas, you can put the food on the ground where you want them to disturb the land. So it's easier to do that, especially with a fermented feed that is wet. If you have a dry feed, like a self-feeder would be easier, but you would then again have to move that dry feeder in different places, you know, wherever you move the pigs. And so anyways, yeah, so that's it. We are gonna go ahead and just start another batch, and that'll just add into the lineup, and we hope that in months to come that we really start seeing a significant difference, and not only on our feed bill but on our pigs' growth rate and nutrition. So we'll see y'all next time here on the farm.